Today is Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. We're here for the Commissioners' meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions to the current agenda
Mr. Chairman,
and approval of minutes?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the agenda as written.
I'd like to see an adjustment to the agenda, if you're willing. I'd like to pull the administration office business, number one there, the presentation official office hours of Franklin County offices, and reconsider that on another date.
Discussion.
I'm fine with that.
All right. We will pull it. Do I have a second on the approval of the minutes? I thought he made a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I made a motion. I'd like to rescind that motion and make a motion now with that presentation of the office hours for Franklin County offices being pulled. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with that correction.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. Approval of warrant registers and payroll rosters.
Do we have any minutes? Okay. Okay, there's approval of minutes on there, but we have no meeting minutes to approve. So, Mr. Chairman, I move for the approval of fund expenditures in the amount of $315,967.16 and note that it has been reviewed by two members of the Auditor's Office and our County Administrator.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, we have another fund expenditure in the amount of $16,018.48. And again, it has been reviewed by two members of the Auditor's Office and our County Administrator.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Approval of consent agenda. Looking for a motion on the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I move to approve the consent agenda items 1 through 7 as presented.
I second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes. Moving on to public comment. Is there anyone in the room for public comment?
Commissioner Diddy, at last week's meeting, you expressed some concern about our corrections deputies being assaulted inside the jail. And so it prompted me to basically provide you a memorandum, all of you in a memorandum that outlines what's taken place in the jail in 2023. There were 704 total incidents which occurred in the jail, 269 total disciplinary infractions, 34 use of force incidents, and 14 PREA issues, which are sexual type of offenses. 2 physical assaults on staff members, that would be like doctors and nurses. Misdemeanor assaults, 6 misdemeanor assaults. These are type things like throwing bodily fluids on inmate or on our corrections deputies, or those type of things. And then 2 violent assaults that occurred on our corrections deputies in 2023, which basically is punching, kicking them, those type of things that were felony type of assaults. Outside responses to our jail last year, Our law enforcement deputies responded 75 times to the jail over a period of 2023. There were 26 assaults. 24 of those were on inmates, 2 inmate on correctional staff, and 2 malmish, which is damage of property, throughout the year. So hopefully that helps you with kind of what was taking place criminally inside our correctional facility, which is about average. It's not out of control, but when you're handling 200 inmates at a time, these things are going to happen. And we keep track of all of those incidents, so they're available anytime you have any questions.
All right, thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I was present at the evening meeting where I believe that the lid lift was shot down. But I am here to beg the commissioners to do everything we possibly can before looking at maybe laying off our employees. If we go and put the lid lift to the voters, which I know nobody wants to pay taxes, but as long as they say no, they're not paying the taxes, and we can go to the state and ask for funding. So in 2008, Franklin County Facilities Department had 8 employees and 1 supervisor. In 2009, we were asked to lay off and give back to the county, which we did in 4 employees being laid off. We took furloughs and gave back $300,000 in a janitorial contract. We were told that we would be remembered and this would go forward and we would be rewarded in the end, so to speak. Now here it is, we are 2024. My department has never ever been allowed to hire more than 4 people at a time. I have 4 employees currently. We have, during that time, we've added 3 more properties. So that includes the annex, the museum, the courthouse, Justice Center. You've built a whole entire building again. Public Works Connell, which we've helped out there. The Mesa Sheriff's Department Hub, which we've helped out there. We've helped at the Hapo Center and RV Park. All the while, we have not been able to obtain any more employees, but we're asked to do more. If we are ever looked at getting layoffs again, this courthouse does not come back from that. And I'm sure that there are many people that will come up here and tell you the exact same thing with their departments. The money doesn't come back, the employees aren't coming back. It's just all around not great. So I'm here to say my piece, and I've done that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Morning, Commissioners. Peter Harpster, 9527 Santa Fe Parkway here in Pasco. Here this morning requesting this board to consider bringing back text amendment application TC 2020-02. That was first submitted in February 2020, and it's been 4 years now. I sent emails to each of you individually with more detailed information, so I'll skip some of the semantics of it. County planning staff and the planning commission in 2020 both recommended approval, and then just due to COVID and then some health issues with planning staff, the application sat for a couple years. It's just a text amendment. There's no project, so we've been pretty patient in understanding things come up, but it has been 4 years, and the ordinance that was prepared was already reviewed by County Prosecuting Attorney Mr. Jeff Briggs and signed off. It was also in accordance with Franklin County Code sent to the state, and believe it or not, they had no comments on it. So we had worked with county staff last fall when this came back to the board, and it was heard for about an hour and a half, and a motion was made. It died for lack of a second, so there was no denial, so there's no need for an appeal process. It would be up to the chair to decide to bring it back, and I believe just directing staff or Mr. Gonzalez. I'm not exactly sure how that portion would work, but just say that because there was no denial, there's no need for an appeal process. It's as simple as just bringing it back on the agenda again. One thing I did want to mention is that the application that text amendment does further 8 different goals found in the county comprehensive plan that this board passed. And multiple public hearings were held over the course of the last 4 years. No further public hearings are required to be held, but that is up to the discretion of the board whether you'd like to do that or not. I believe that's all, but I'll stick around if there's any questions at the end. Thanks for your time and
Mr. Chairman?
consideration.
Could you give us that number?
Yes, sir. TC 2020-02.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Commissioners, if I could just briefly comment on that last comment. This is a legislative proposal that was just discussed at PUD. It's a textual amendment to our code, and because it's legislative, I believe that the Franklin County Code Section 1460.030 would apply, which states that all changes and amendments to the development code are legislative processes and are not subject to deadlines for issuance of a final decision or project permit applications. There's no deadline for the board's final decision on the amendments, nor is there any limitation on the number of hearings that the county may hold to consider the amendments. So,
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Good morning.
So yeah, the last Wednesday's meeting ran pretty late. I wasn't able to come up here because I got tired. But I was really encouraged though by what was said. I was really encouraged by how you guys are really digging deep to figure out the revenue shortfalls versus expenditures and where that middle ground is. I was encouraged to hear that there seems to be a bit of an audit with the bi-county courts and seeing where, if we are getting our dollars out of that partnership. I was also encouraged by even what John Rosenau said. It's not a one-way approach, I don't think. I think we have to look at multiple avenues, whether that is that horrible levy lid lift, whether that is the 0.1%. However it's going to take, if we're going to be short on money and we need the help from the state, we need to look at those options of what's it going to take for the state to come in and say, hey, all right, you have exhausted your options, your resources. One thing that I did feel out of the Consor study is that staffing isn't an issue as far as we have an overstaffing we can cut there. In fact, it looked like we were 50% understaffed from other counties. If we cut the staffing, we're going to be, shorting services to other people, that want to come in for passports or whatever. There's multiple things that the other staffing and the staff does here, and I don't think cutting staff is where it's at. Kind of to build on that, Mr. Rosenau said that we're talking about the how they go and get new construction, and he said that new construction has to be done by July 31st. And I'd push back a little bit on that because I think that's the state mandatory minimum. I don't know where if it says anywhere that they can't do it monthly, quarterly, or anything else. But what I feel the issue is they don't have the staff to go out monthly or quarterly to go to the new construction to get that, those assessments done, to bring the revenue in. Had they had the staff, maybe we could, fill that gap in a little bit. But I think the real issue that I, really want to, take home is cutting staff doesn't seem like the right thing to do, and it's not going to deliver the results that you're wanting. I think it's really about revenue and expenses out. We need to figure out where that's coming from. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there anyone on the phone?
Caller, you have 3 minutes. Caller, you have 3 minutes.
Yeah. In Pasco and Franklin County, we highly regulate our citizens. As you enter the city off multiple freeway entrances, you see that traffic laws are strictly enforced. I think what we need to do is highly regulate those in charge. See, when you highly regulate those that are willing to produce, you destroy the spirit of your community. See, go back to when you had that sheriff's officer putting his hands on a woman. And when you read the report, you see that the sheriff's officer was the complainant in disturbing the peace. You were disturbing a civil servant's duty. Well, the funny part about that is the law is pretty clear all the way up to the Supreme Court in multiple states. As a civil servant and a on-duty police officer, as he writes in the report so honestly and straightforwardly, you can't have your peace disturbed. You can't be the one that is in the report saying, my peace was, he disturbed me by saying, fuck the police. That made me upset. No, those are words that are allowed to be expressed, and especially towards police, well written. And so then for him to take physical steps before ever articulating or explaining why he was somehow, or who was the respondent, he kind of became a little culpable for everything after. And then when the sheriff's office, when the prosecutor's office decided to prosecute, instead of, like, look at Benton County. You guys always compare yourself to Benton County right next door. And in Benton County, they take care of dirty sheriffs. But when you look over here, why don't they join in and take care of what they, okay, so if a sheriff can't be that, and he's writing that report, and he's the complainant, and he arrested the guy for that, then he is guilty of a crime. And the prosecutor knows that. But they're kind of already in bed, and they've already committed to prosecuting this disabled guy as a crazy guy. So this was just doubling down because he won't shut up and he won't go away. If you look at Rule 33, if you look on their website, the county website now, and your court website, I now have abilities to file for disability accommodation. Isn't that ironic? It's a little bit of guilt that you've admitted, but if you know what knowing wanted disregard is, it's the only felony that your prosecutor can go to jail for. He can do anything he wants except have a knowledge of something and want to disregard it and prosecute anyway. That becomes a felony, or he'll spend 5 years in prison. And that's why he didn't prosecute the sheriff, because we already knew that he had, I on August 27th, 2019, had pinned Sean Sant, Stovern, and the deputy sheriff. Sheriff was supposed to show up, but he didn't show up. I pinned them with a knowledge of felonies, and the only way they could go forth and prosecute me or arrest me was with a disregard to those knowledge of felonies, because those felonies proved false reports for 6 months by the Pasco police, because they were trying to cover up for me being arrested falsely for asking an officer for his name after he spit in my face and was told multiple times by his own sergeant to leave the scene and did not leave the scene. They had to
Caller,
arrest me.
you've extended your 3 minutes. We do
And
have a
I would
second
also say
public
that
comment
real
later,
quick,
but the 3 minutes is up. Thank you. Is there anyone else in the room for public comment?
George Dockstutter, Self Landing Road. Couple comments. I noticed lately we haven't had department heads on the agenda. And I always found it interesting to listen to get up here and whine and moan about all their problems, which are our problems. I'd like to see that brought back. And I'd also like to call out Mr. Rosenau, who stood up here how many times when we were going through the reassessment, says reassessment isn't going to raise your taxes one iota, it's going to be spread out over a greater amount. Well, my taxes went up 15%, so he's a damn liar. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Any other phone? Anybody else on the phone? All right, thank you. Moving on to regular business, we have a presentation for Lourdes Health Program and Prosecutorial Division.
And Chair, permission to speak. Just wanted to welcome Mauricio Anelli from Lourdes Health to talk about the PATH program and also the prosecutorial diversion program. I'm going to tee up a PowerPoint so the commission can see. So Austin, if you can help me out, I'm going to plug in, and hopefully this will get going pretty easily.
You're welcome to sit here at the table. The mics are live there as well, if that's more convenient for you.
This one. Okay. Let's see what pops up here. Slideshow. Start from the beginning. Okay, awesome. You guys are all set.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to come and present on some of our programs that.
And Ellie, if you don't mind, keep speaking into the microphone. Thank you.
All right. So we want to present on some of the programs that we are currently operating, and we had submitted a request for some funding from the substance use and mental health tax money that is being collected. And so we wanted to present on what we're currently doing and why we are requesting these funds. So I'm going to start out with the PATH program, which is a project for assistance in transitions from homelessness. And we've been operating this program since 2006. And some of the statistics that we're going to show you here are from 2016. So what we do in these services is we provide assistance to the community. So we do outreach out into the community, and we help folks access housing, mental health services, substance use treatment, get them connected to any disability benefits if they're eligible for that. They also do outreach for in distributing Narcan, so that's something that we've been doing as well. And we have one case manager currently doing that service with that program, and we serve both Benton and Franklin County. So per the federal legislation, PATH eligibility means that the individual has to have either a serious mental illness, a suspected mental illness. They can also have a co-occurring, which would be a substance use and mental illness at the same time, experiencing homelessness or at risk of homelessness in order to be eligible for the program and not be in any type of services at that time. So the goal is to connect them to all these services and get them the support that they need. Our history with this contract, so it stemmed from SAMHSA, which is the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Service Administration, and they provided a grant, and then that grant was awarded to the states, and the states then awarded it to Greater Columbia Behavioral Health, BHO at the time. And then they distributed that to subcontractors, and Lourdes was one of those recipients. Ever since the changes happened at the BHO and now the ASO, that is not being managed by them anymore, and so we directly contract with the healthcare authority, so directly with the state is what we do now. So that's the current contract. So total services, this is from 2016. Clients served, since we started them in 2016, we've served about 1,577 community members. We've enrolled into mental health services 169. Total clients referred to housing services 220. And the total funding received through PATH to provide support services like bus passes, clothing, rental assistance, food, or any of the basic needs that people need is $103,101.23. So that's what we have received to be able to support just some of the needs that our community members have, and getting them kind of get started and being stable. So what we're looking for is matching funds is what we're needing. So matching funds, can come from the state, local, or other sources. And what we're looking for is $17,254, so we can continue to, operate this program and be able to provide these services to our community members. any questions around that program and the service?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
so your services that you have provided, are those numbers, that 1577, are those Benton and Franklin County?
Yes.
Have you reached out to Benton County also?
We have presented it at the Behavioral Health Advisory Committee that we're requesting these funds.
But you haven't been before the Board of Commissioners?
No, not yet.
Because this is something I think that we should share the cost of together.
Yes,
And I'd encourage you to meet with them also.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
And have you extinguished all local funds?
So we used to get the match fund from the ASO, and they no longer are providing that to us.
Questions?
So is this the amount that you would be asking from us, and then you intend to ask for Benton County for their proportionate share? Or is the number total here that would be divided by both?
This is the total number that we need divided, yep.
All right, any further questions?
So then my name is Mauricio Gomez, and I'm the Director of Community Outreach for Lourdes Counseling Center. The next program that we like to talk about is the Prosecutorial Diversion Program that was established here in Benton and Franklin County in 2018. And basically what it is just work directly with the prosecuting attorneys so they can refer clients that have mental illness or substance abuse and their competency for trial are in questioning, and they try to refer to our program so they can keep it out of the jail, get mental health services, substance abuse services, and avoid them to go back to jail. So the goal for this program is to provide an intensive outpatient case management. So we had a mental health professional, a mental health, two care coordinators, peer support, and they are meeting with the clients three times a week or more. Encourage them to attend for mental health services, substance use services, help them to find housing, and also going to inpatient or outpatient substance abuse. So since the program's inception, we received a total of 833 requests. We have screened around 816 individuals. We accepted a total of 505, and there's been like a total of 742 charges accepted into the program. And for the 742, 345 are felonies and 397 misdemeanor charges. The reason to come here and ask for help is because this program, we can go to the next one, please. The maximum amount is being awarded to us through the department, the SHS, is $286,472. And we have, is divided in the monthly administrative fees, there's $9,406. And that is something that we can charge every single month just for the services. The rest of the money is coming through our new enrollment. So for every year that we start the program, we can enroll 70 clients plus, and each client, we receive the money for $2,480. We can go to the next one. Right here is the new enrollment for years. In 2018, we had like 18. You can see it's getting there, but after, in 2023 to 2024, the number of new enrollments has been decreasing. We had less referrals from the prosecutor office. And this is also because of the shortage of defense attorney or different things that's been in play. So right now, one of the main problems that we have, we want to continue this program in the community. We want to support the prosecuting attorneys, but also it's been a decrease in the funding. So the projection that we have is that if we can get basically funding for like $42,000 for this program. Obviously, we want to talk to the Benton County as well to share, because we work with Benton County and Franklin County prosecuting attorneys, so we can keep this program running. And right now, the total amount that we are below is $139,000. But my projections is that we can have at least another 20 or 25 new enrollments, but we had a deficit of $42,000 to keep the program running in the community. And we had another one. Yeah, that's what we have. And anybody has any questions?
Chair,
Questions? Yes.
and Mauricio, just so the commission is clear, you're looking to fund this through the 1/10 of 1% mental health sales tax, right?
If possible, or if you have another funds available, we are
Okay.
open as well.
I just wanted to put that on the record.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
again, this is a total for Benton and Franklin County?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you haven't been before them?
We are going to go there. We're
Okay.
going to request that, because it has to be a share, because we work with them as well.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Sant?
Mr. Chairman, oh, go ahead.
So you're probably going to answer this question, but my question is, does this program, this jail deferral program, does this work in conjunction with our Judge Orozco that has been putting together a program in our courts, or this is completely separate?
This is actually separate, and I could go into that a
Thanks.
little bit. Mr. Chairman, if
Yes,
I could.
Mr. Sant.
One thing I just wanted to draw attention to is that in addition to the counties, it really should be a combination of the cities. Because I know in working with Pasco Municipal Court, their prosecutor, they do refer clients to it as well. So I really think there should be a combined effort for both the cities who participate, and I think frankly, as you can imagine, with almost 80,000 of our population being located in the city of Pasco, most of those referrals come from involvements or contacts with the Pasco City Police. And it is a good program. I think for the amount that they are asking, we definitely see a benefit, because you could see the number of felony cases that would have otherwise had to have been appointed a prosecuting attorney to, a defense attorney to, the court cost, potentially the jail cost. It is a good program. And to answer your question, Commissioner Baumann, this is actually a different program outside of the court. We do have a court program that is being developed here on our side of the river that we will work with. We've had a prosecutor diversion program that was created even prior to my taking office in 2011. My predecessor created that program. We've essentially tried to pick up on that and really expand how we review and file, just because we had to avoid tapping out the numbers of defense attorneys that are appointed. We've had to figure out, hey, what kind of cases could we divert, especially those property crime type cases. The thing that we've found with the diversion program is sometimes, because there are gaps, sometimes there's a need for protection orders and other functions of the court, and that's why it's helpful to have this program that's being developed here in our Franklin County District Court. We could have individuals on protection orders or other court oversight, but we get to tap into the services that Lourdes and other service providers can provide as far as the mental health. And that's a great benefit, because if we treat the underlying problem, what we've found over the years, it's not just a mental health, it's kind of that question, what came first, the mental health issue, the drug component, or is it people that are self-medicating because they're trying to treat an underlying mental health issue? So we've really seen a training take place over the last about 10 years, I'd say, where counselors are becoming trained to be able to deal with that by modality, where they're able to look at, hey, people are suffering with a mental health illness, and sometimes that gets them turned into drugs because they're trying to self-medicate and they're trying to find relief from that. So anyway, I just wanted to chime in because it does work hand in hand with our existing programs. It does take away some of the cases that would have to resolve within our court system when it's appropriate. And I think having the two programs, they do work hand in hand. They're not in competition. They provide essential services for the needs of folks in our community. So I'm hoping that we get similar support from City of Pasco as well as the other cities, so that it's not just the counties taking on the cost burden. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Baumann.
So would the request be today for our proportionate share, understanding that you're going to go to Pasco and Benton County and the other jurisdictions? Is that my understanding? So ours would be a proportionate share. The request would be for our proportionate share of this number?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, and the previous number. Yes, okay.
That would be for both
Yes.
programs that we're talking about.
Yes.
The request is for our proportionate share.
Yes.
Thank you.
No. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the presentation by the Benton Franklin County Fair Board. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Lori Lancaster. I'm the Executive Director of the Benton Franklin Fair Association. Joined today by the Fair Board President, Dwayne Howard, and Vice President Doug Elliott, both proud Franklin County residents. I wanted to just go through a quick presentation. We're here today to ask for the continued support of Franklin County for the annual event that is the best week of summer and a celebration of the youth of our community. A few people in this room know a lot about the fair, and some don't, so I want to give just a quick history and a little bit about our mission. So the mission of the Benton Franklin Fair is to bring the community together for the best week of summer through opportunity, education, and entertainment. The Fair Association is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. Its year-round business office is in Franklin County, has been since 2019, and we lease the fairgrounds only for the few days for setup, the fair, and cleanup. So we are not on the fairgrounds year-round. Mission-driven education. So the youth, that's why we all do what we do. This is why the event started, and it's why it continues. It's one of the strongest fairs in the state of Washington. As you can see, all ages of youth participate in the fair with all kinds of different livestock projects. We're very proud of the fact that enrollment here continues to increase in livestock projects, and it is decreasing in a trend across the state of Washington. Grand champions from Franklin County every year. Very strong showing from Franklin County. These are two of the grand champions from 2023 that are Franklin County residents. We have the largest youth market stock sale in Washington State. All of that money goes to the kids who show the animals. None of it goes to the fair. So a lot of kids are able to go to college, buy their first car, continue their livestock projects, all because of that sale. Last year, that was $1.3 million and change, which is an incredible amount of money to come in one afternoon in the Tri-Cities. I tell people all the time that it's the largest fundraiser. You know, people talk about their fundraisers and, you know, they make $100,000, $120,000. Businesses and farmers in the community turn out to provide these kids with $1.3 million in a single afternoon. It's incredible. The Fair Association also provides scholarships. We do 10,000 in annual scholarships, and you'll see some other Franklin County residents in these pictures. We also support reading. You know, they talk about the summer slide for kids when they're not in school. Literacy is a big project of ours, and so we support the reading programs at the libraries, and they get vouchers, and so if the kids finish their program, they get a free ticket to the fair. It's one of their biggest incentives. Entertainment, you know, it's what a lot of people come to think of the fair about. The rodeo, the Horse Heaven Roundup, is now ranked in the top 25 in the nation, and that's out of almost 980 PRCA events. It's broadcast live on the Cowboy Channel to over 42 million households. And last year we saw our Nielsen ratings viewership increase 104%. So that's a huge increase. We're one of the top rodeos in the nation for additional TV viewership, which just brings more attention to our region. Oops. Back up one. We have all kinds of entertainment from diaper derby, baby crawling, pig racing, Dancing in the Dirt featuring James Otto last year, who is a local resident, now lives in Nashville, is a national recording artist. The Mounted Sheriff's Posse and the parade draws almost 3,500 people. We also have main stage entertainment. This was one of the highlights of our year last year. As you can see, we had a packed house for Banda Machos on Saturday night, and it was just an incredible concert, and the crowd was loving the whole event. Opportunity, that's one that a lot of people don't understand how the fair contributes to the community. So last year, nonprofits at the fair earned $177,744. That's through the sale of food, through having a contract to drive our trams, the tractors, various different things. Hanford Booster Club helps with parking. All kinds of different nonprofits are involved in the fair, and that money goes to their missions and back to the community. Second Harvest, we're all about agriculture and feeding people. And so on the opening day of the fair, we contribute part of the sale of tickets at the gate to Second Harvest. And over the past 15 years, we've donated more than 143,000 pounds of food to the organization. We give back year-round. In 2023, we provided donations of 142,953 in donation and sponsorships to organizations in the community. That's anywhere from United Way's Festival of Trees to the middle picture is a sock drive for people in the community who needed warm clothes. It was our 75th anniversary in 2023, and with the support of a sponsor, we gave away 75 tickets a day for 75 days leading up to the fair to nonprofits in the community. That was almost $85,000 worth of free tickets that were provided to people to be able to come to the fair. We celebrated our anniversary. I pulled some old articles from the early 1950s when the Bi-County Fair was formed, when Franklin County came on to be a partner. There's a photo of one of the original fair boards and the current fair board. They look a little different these days. And we have a rack card that talks about some of the good works we do in the community and the things we contribute to over the year. In 2023, we had 112,250 people in 5 days come through the gates at the fair. We talked about the market stock auction. Ben Franklin Transit provided 22,000 rides to the fair. There is only so much parking that can be had out there, and the transit shuttle is a great service to the event. And the fair donated 112,400 worth of free tickets in the community as part of our 75th anniversary beyond the 75-day campaign. So we've been partners with Franklin County for more than 70 years in the fair. And Franklin County is with us every day, everywhere we go. It's part of our name, it's part of our identity, it's part of the fabric of what we do. As part of the agreement between Franklin County and the fair, you're provided with a booth space in the indoor building, which is air conditioned and has been recently renovated. That is a 10 by 10 space. Also an advertisement in the entertainment guide, which is distributed with 12,000 copies in the community. We also have an online flip book version of that. And partners make it all possible. As a 501c3, we don't receive county funding or state funding for the event, and we rely on businesses and our partners in the community to make it all happen. I'm happy to answer any questions the commissioners may have.
So in recent meetings, there's been some concern over just the prices at the fair. Can you explain where those funds are distributed to? Let's say the price of food, if you're charging a percentage, it's my understanding that goes towards entertainment. Do you care to elaborate on that at all?
Well, it's not particularly designated, so it goes to the general fund for operations, yeah.
But the entertainment, which is always very good at Benton Franklin Fair, is quite expensive, and it is free to the public. Is that correct?
There is a section that's free to the public, or they can choose to purchase a ticket. Yeah. But it is, it's about a $700,000 expense when you talk about stage, lighting, the acts. We have 5 concerts. It's quite expensive. It's almost doubled since pre-COVID for the same caliber of act.
Well, being involved in the fair industry, I'm very proud of our local fair. And I'm not saying that because I'm from here. It is actually one of the best fairs in the nation. And I personally have worked fairs across the entire nation. So we're very fortunate. In my opinion, it is one of the best fairs in the whole United States, and is also very an important asset that we have in our community for our young children to participate and keep them active in the community with projects that may keep them from doing things that are not so favorable. So I'll open it up. Any other questions for Lori? Mr. Baumann, I recognize.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A special thing that I like about, I don't know that I have a question necessarily, but I guess something I'd like to say is a special thing that I like about the fair is the opportunity for kids to go and work hard and showcase their hard work, through animals and so forth. I received a card, a second thank you card here a few weeks back from the girl that I bought her lamb. at the fair, and that was pretty special for me. Somebody worked hard, and I had the opportunity to buy an amazing lamb for my family to enjoy, and it meant a lot to her because many months after the fair was over, she still remembered that, and so I was really thankful to have the opportunity to purchase that, and just for the youth of our community to have an outlet for positive, for the good. I think that it's really important that we provide opportunity for the next generation to excel, and some of the struggles that we have in our society today, I think if people had taken a different path and maybe raised a lamb or a steer for the fair, that they might not have been on the path that they are. And so I think that this is a good opportunity, and especially since COVID, when our governments tried to separate us, I think the community rejected that separation. I think is one of the reasons we see the growth in the fairs today. From the Benton Franklin Fair is seeing growth to the small fair that we have here in Franklin County. We're seeing the growth there, and so I'm really thankful that we have this opportunity. And thank you for what you do, and all of the volunteers that spend so many hours in making this the best week of summer for our community. Thank you.
Chairman Didier, I'm sorry, Commissioner Didier.
Thank you. I'd just like to say thank you because as a lifelong resident of Franklin County, I was a fair participant back in the 70s, and I can remember still raising that steer. I named him Arnold. Thing you don't want to do is get too attached, because it was a life learning experience I'll never forget. And that's what I'm glad to see, that we're still focusing on the youth. The only complaints I have is what Commissioner Mullen brought up, and I appreciate us wanting to bring in big bands, and they cost a lot of money. But I think we have a lot of local bands we should be looking at too, and if we brought in local bands, that would bring in more local people. I think your attendance could even go up more, and we could lower the price of we're charging the vendors and pass it on to the people. Because that's all I heard about, is how expensive the food was out there at the last fair. And if you go to the fair, you want to enjoy that fair food. So I'm just trying to make it even more of a success for you. I'm only relaying to you what I heard in my ear. And I want it to still continue to be a success, as I want that Freedom Rodeo out in Basin City, which is now in NRP, it's nationally syndicated too. I want them both to be a success. And I want this county, Franklin and Benton, to stand as an icon for the rest of the country to follow, as far as when they want to put down mandates about separating us and putting on masks and have to take a vaccine, that we're Americans and we won't stand for that. So I really appreciate you guys and the Fair Board, the outstanding job you guys are doing. And Big D, next time they take that picture, you insist that he gets out of the way of your sign, okay? Thank you.
I again would just like to say thank you. You all do a tremendous job at the Benton Franklin Fair. And I can't say it enough. I mean, it truly is one of the best run fairs in the nation. And again, I'm not saying that because I'm from here. I literally have worked fairs from here to Buffalo, New York, and back. Yes, things are expensive at the fair, but so is the entertainment and the services that are provided. And all I can say is the Benton Franklin Fair is one of the most successful fairs that I've ever participated in, and you guys do a tremendously great job, and it is so important for the youth of our community. I just want to say thank you for a job well done. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I address Commissioner Didier?
Yes.
Excuse me. We have a couple programs in place. We hear the similar issues. You know, all of our groceries have gone up 25% just in the last year. But we did start a program last year where we invited the food vendors to participate in a family value meal. And so we're asking that be priced reasonably and a reasonable portion. And the vendors that chose to participate did really well. And one of them is actually going to build a stand just to sell his value meals. And it was that particular meal was around $10, and it was a cheeseburger, fries, and a small drink. And it was a good amount of food. And also on Thursday afternoon, we have the vendors serve a smaller portion of a signature dish for $3. So you can try a lot of things without getting the giant food that you might end up not eating all of it. So we're really working on that, and I appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
So I had heard that, that this was the highest grossing stock sale in history and proportionately that it was the largest around the United States. Do you have any idea if that's correct?
I only have the stats for Washington State, and it's certainly the highest in Washington by far, almost double, with Connell usually being number 2. And so nationally, no, the Texas fairs are huge in their stock sales. Like steers will go for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But proportionately?
Yeah, I would say it's right there. I don't have the stats to back that up, but definitely from what we see in the state, it's top notch. I mean, the community comes out to support even during COVID when we could have a livestock sale because it was a federal necessity to be able to market animals. You know, we had tremendous support.
Thank you so much. Keep up the great work.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I'd also like to just add in that I'd like to apologize a couple years ago when Transit did not use their buses to help transport the people. And Commissioner Mullen and I were both on that board, and we were very upset. And that general manager is gone, and the new one won't do that. I'll guarantee it. So I apologize for that.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? All right.
Thanks.
Are you here today, Lori, with an ask or just a presentation?
I thought it was in your packet, sorry.
Okay.
It's just the continued support at the same level. We've been at the same level for the 20 years I've been involved. So it's a 10,000 contribution.
Yes. Well, you definitely have my support. I don't know if you're just looking for consensus here today, Mr. Gonzalez. or-
So Chair, I think what we'll do is get the consensus today, then we can bring it back as a resolution to codify it next Wednesday. And if we want to continue at that same level of support, if we want to expand it, I mean, I think if we've been at the same level for 10,000, and you could see the return on investment. So maybe that's something we think about. I can work with Lori in terms of the leveling and do we increase it? So let me have that conversation with Lori, and then I'll circle back with the commission and see how we feel about our support level. And because we do get a booth out of that, which I'm appreciative of, and we were able to man that booth last year. So I'm really, we didn't, and Lori was very nice. She let us kind of flex the hours a little bit, and I convinced her to do that. But they're really strict, which I think is a good thing, to have us man the booth the entire time. So I really want us to have a good presence there and man that booth the entire fair. So, which I think is a good marketing piece for us. And so, yeah, I will work with Lori and circle back with you guys individually.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
If I might add, being that we're in a budget crisis here, I would not recommend increasing it. We'd stay at 10 and maybe look at an avenue of the tickets, the things that are distributed, that we donate that to a justly cause also. Because we are in a budget crunch, and I don't think we can take on any more commitments at this time.
Duly noted, and I'll work out the best, most reasonable
Okay.
plan for the county.
All right. Moving on to Commissioner Administrator updates. Mr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chair. Been keeping busy, post-consor study, just working with various departments and working with consor on the follow-up and implementation phase. So I'll be talking with you guys individually, sort of the next steps of continuing to work with consor. That would be a separate contract from what they delivered, but I think it would be wise to continue working with them as we come up with strategies, whether that's the HAPO Center, whether it's implementing some of the 18 strategies they put into place. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. We're able to have the Mission Visions Value workshop this past Thursday, which turned out to be really great. Commissioner Bauman and Commissioner Mullen were able to participate, and so I think that really brought a lot of folks together. Other than that, of course, always keeping busy and just moving the county forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Bauman.
So it's been a busy last week. Of course, we had the night workshop last week, and following day we had the Mission Vision Values workshop. I really appreciated that process and Paul Casey leading us through the exercises and the process of what is our mission, and followed by that is, with that being our mission, what is our vision, where are we headed, and what values are we going to use as our guardrails along the way. And I really appreciated a lot of stuff that came out of that. There's a little bit more that Paul and our administrator is going to work on to kind of put that in a format that we can use. So I really appreciated that, and all the different departments that were there, and their additions that they added to that. Also met with Senator Cantwell's office last week with our administrator and Mr. Valentine, and really appreciated the reception that we received there from her office, and really some of the thoughts and ideas of ways that we can bring some Franklin County tax dollars back to Franklin County. Felt like we made some tremendous headway, and they were very receptive and helpful in what they provided, and so really thankful for that. And Jason is come out of that meeting, I think, with a long to-do list, and appreciate you working hard on that, Jason. There's Jason and Mike and I have been working on some of the suggestions they had on ways to present the different needs that we have. So was thankful for those suggestions, and thankful that Jason's working diligently to answer some of those, along with all the questions that he's able to ask. Two other pieces that I've been spending a lot of time on is reading contracts that we have here as Franklin County, contracts we have with others, and trying to understand. There was something said earlier about some of the money we spend by county and otherwise, trying to understand what that is, where that money is spent, and how it works. And then on policy, something that I appreciate our sheriff has said a number of times is that we need to have robust policy. So really been working diligently to understand how to do that appropriately, and have had the opportunity to work with his office some, and with others inside of the county to understand what we do have in place, and what updating those would look like, and do feel that robust policies will be helpful. And so looking forward to continue working on that and bringing forth some ideas to be able to backfill that. Thank you.
Commissioner Didier.
Well, last week was a pretty light week. I had a Ben Franklin Workforce Development meeting, executive meeting. And other than that, Saturday I was at a parts store and met a gentleman named Justin Hansen, and he's a recovered addict, and he is wanting to help others. So I reached out to Kyle Sullivan, and hopefully we're going to get him to help other people that are in need. Had the first meeting of the Franklin County Citizens Advisory Committee on County Code Review and Update Recommendations. The Bureau is going to fill the main canals on the 4th of March, which is just around the corner here. And water deliveries will start March 13th. That's the earliest that's ever came into the Franklin County, because the fact that we got orchardists that are wanting frost control. Then there was an article in the Capitol Press, and we're getting the Capitol Press. Did you guys happen to see this article?
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
USDA concerned with loss of farms and farmland. The 2022 Census of Agricultural, released February 13th, reveals fewer farms and less farmland in the United States. USDA Secretary Tom Vilsack focused on those 2 points. The U.S. has lost 142,000 farms and 20 million acres since the census in 2017. And it goes on to talk about what's going on, and they're concerned about the production of food in the United States, and rightly so. And I think this is going to be a tell test this year for the farmers in Franklin County, because of the commodity prices dropping. The sale that I reported, given to me by George Dockstetter, the first cutting fine stem alfalfa in California, that sets the precedent for price at $150 a ton. 2 years ago, we were getting $400 a ton. They say break-even price is $180. We're going backwards. And a levy lead lift would do nothing but put more harm onto these farmers out here with the land and the taxes they're going to have to pay. So we're going to have to very, very, very cautiously move forward in what our actions are going to be. Glenn Morgan, met with him. 6 initiatives were going to be on the ballot, and it's come to the point where the Democrats are realizing that the people of the Washington State are pushing back. 3 of those initiatives are going to be put to the vote this week, as early as Friday, or this could be this week, and it could be Friday. Number 1, police pursuit. You'll be able to pursue again. The police will be able to pursue criminals. Parental transparency, parental rights. Your right to know what your children are going to be provided in the form of abortions or whatever at school. And no income tax. These 6 initiatives has also made the legislature pull back the 3% increase in property taxes that they wanted to impose that we could pass as commissioners onto the citizens out here farming. They were asking that we have that right to put a 3% increase on your property tax every year. And that's been pulled because of these 6 initiatives. The other 3 are going to be to a vote. The last one was no income tax. There will be no income tax. They're not even going to address that, passing an income tax. They've pulled that. So the 3% increase to property tax is what they pulled. The 3rd initiative that they're going to probably pass into law is no income tax. So this hard work that Mr. Hayward, Brian Hayward, and Glenn Morgan have done with these initiatives set a precedence across the United States for signatures gathering. More numbers than they've seen in any other state. So the people are talking, and they need to keep talking. Last 2 things are, I'd ask you to keep Dwayne Davidson in your thoughts and prayers. He's got a grandson that was born prematurely. He weighs 1.6 pounds. He's already had to have 2 blood transfusions. He's bleeding from his little lungs, and Dwayne said he's fighting for his life.
All right. So last week I did attend the mission statement, which I think was a very good grouping of people to come together and work together. Visit Tri-Cities is getting ready for the Ironman competition, and they're looking for volunteers. So nonprofit groups, there's possible grant money there to help support your cause. So if you're interested in that, go to the Visit Tri-Cities website, and there's information there that can lead you on to how you can become a volunteer. Went to the Pasco Listening Committee last night at the Holiday Inn Express here in Pasco. Listened to the concerns of people within the city, and just wanted to bring up again so the public is aware of our 911 situation, call centers. Our system is completely antiquated, and we have purchased every piece available off of eBay for the past few years, and there simply aren't any more pieces to Band-Aid our system together. So be aware that there may be an ask for an increase in the sales tax or some way of funding our emergency phone center system. Also had the Chamber of Commerce meeting yesterday. There was talk about, pulling the dams, and the dams that have been pulled in the Klamath River. They're already issuing problems with the sediment that's built up for years. They say if you drive down there and get stuck, there's absolutely no way of ever pulling your rig or vehicle out of there. And it just goes on to say that the devastation to our county would be in the high millions if they pull these Snake River dams out. And it's just I don't know, it almost looks like they're trying to destroy our community purposely. I also spoke with local developers on some financing options that has came up, and their ways of showing how we could improve some financial situations we have here in the county with their help, and I think we should take a look at that, and I've spoken with Mr. Gonzalez. We'll try to get that on the agenda soon. Ben Franklin Transit, I've been hearing nothing but great things as far as the management. Just want to say Rochelle at the Ben Franklin Transit is doing a tremendously great job. And that is it for the my last week here. Moving on to a presentation. Oh, well, that's been pulled. So we'll go to public comment. Is there anyone in the room for public comment?
I just wanted to echo the thoughts that were shared earlier on the opportunity that we had kind of for that workshop session for other county elected and other departments to kind of work together and collaborate. I thought that was a worthwhile process. And I think, thanks, Mike, for kind of coordinating that and putting that together, allowing us to kind of come up with ideas, because I think what we hear from our constituents, essentially the 100,000 bosses we have in our county, this is a way that we take what we're hearing collectively from our respective positions coming together as a room and trying to sort out really where our priorities are. And I think that was a good opportunity to kind of figure out, hey, this is something that will help us. It'll kind of build a strong team here. And I think that's greatly needed. So anyway, thanks for putting that together. And I think that was well worthwhile for an afternoon. I know there were some reservations by some about the time commitment, but I think in the end it was very well, and Paul Casey did a good job. So
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
George Dockstetter. I want to know, we've had 2 requests for money. How come they weren't in the budget already? How come we're adding to the budget? I'm a big supporter of the fair, have been, my company's been the whole time we've been in existence. And I'm a supporter of mental health facilities in the Tri-Cities. But this should have been in our budget that you guys put together last year. We've been paying for these things. How come they have to come in and request money now? Why wasn't it already put in there?
We're not supposed to comment, but I believe it was actually in there. It's just more of a presentation to inform the board and anybody else that's listening as far as.
Well, it looks like the appearance is that we've got people coming in requesting money now that should have been requested when the budget was put together. And the other thing I want to comment on, I thought we were going to get to comment after it was presented. The rumors I hear is the county courthouse wants to go to a 4-day work week instead of a 5-day. This courthouse and the people in it are the service industry for the citizens of this county. If anything, they should be down here 6 days a week to take care of the public, especially those that have jobs during the week and have questions and want to come down and get them answered. We shouldn't be looking at a damn 4-day work week. We should be looking at a 6-day work week. And if they're going to work 4 days a week, hope we're talking cutting their salaries 20%. Thank you.
Anyone else for public comment? Anyone on the phone? All right.
Guess who this is?
Caller, you have 3 minutes.
Selective enforcement is discrimination. Simple. Not hard to decide. Some people get 3 minutes. Some people have a timer. Hopefully we start the timer and we keep it. But it would be nice that that was equal. Maybe the one common thing that doesn't get any more than 3 minutes is dissent. Maybe that's the one commonality. But during the public comment, Jim Raymond, sit down and shut up. You're intimidating people. You're intimidating the community. There is a time for you to speak. They've set times aside for you to speak. You're a civil servant. Serve us, not yourself. Don't speak for us. We didn't elect you as our speaker-in-chief. You're the sheriff. Your willingness to speak negatively at times you're not allowed to, and to speak beyond grounds is intimidating. It has killed your community and the ability for them to respond openly. Hashtag class action lawsuit, anybody? Oh, and commissioners, how dare you? How dare you not reprimand him more directly? Regulate those in charge. The society itself will prosper. We are civil. Stop your clown-like behavior, or it's doomed. You guys have repeatedly, I mean, look what you guys have done to Brad Peck, and there's a website out about it to slander him now. Yet we have people here bragging 3 years later that I stood up for the mask mandate. Well, my God, the marathon meeting that you guys had last week is the reason that people look at you like a clownty, Franklin Clownty. That's what they call you. I've literally talked to commissioners and people from other counties from all across the state now, and they look at you guys like a joke. And the reason is because you guys sit and squabble over these little things that are just take it away. Spank your people. Of course, like the one guy said, you're not going to be happy when you take it away. I take a toy away from my toddler, and they lose their mind over it. But reality needs to set in. They need to check themselves and get back in line. But that's not what happens. The civil service in Franklin County has decided to join together and mug its citizens and demand more money and more money and more money. The spending that you guys use and call it, oh, that's federal money. It doesn't cost us anything. That is a disgrace. That is literally a disgrace to watch you guys throw our inflation in the toilet through our whole country and then say it doesn't cost us anything. It's costing us. Being a sanctuary county and city is also costing us. That hashtag public trials.
All right, thank you. Anyone else in the room for public comment?
Can't help myself, commissioners, but I've been paying taxes and living in this community since 1977. And I'll damn well stand up and speak what's on my mind anytime I like, and that's not directed towards the commissioners. That's directed towards the caller. I won't sit down. I just wrote a $6,700 check to this county for taxes, so I'll get my $6,700 worth out of it.
Thank you. Anyone else for public comment? Mr. Gonzalez, do we have an?
Yes, sir, there is a need for an executive session, Chair.
Yes, and this would be under RCW 4230, 110, 1I, potential litigation. We'll need at least 25 minutes.
Yes,
I'm guessing.
25, 30 minutes of.
Let's do 30 minutes.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go into executive session for approximately 30 minutes. The time is 10:14. For approximately 30 minutes. We've come out of executive session with no decisions being made. Is there any business for the good of the county?
No, Chair, we are finished. Thank you.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.